We are live in New York City, and it is never a dull moment at the Trump White House, notably in the Oval Office. There was another heated moment in the Oval Office. The signs were there and the storm was building. President Donald Trump was prepared, and he challenged the visiting South African president with claims of white genocide. Let's tell you more. Now, similar scenes unfolded back in February when you may remember when Trump hosted his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, in a fiery public confrontation. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance accused Zelensky of not being grateful enough for U.S. support that has sustained Ukraine's war effort. Ramaphosa's visit to the Oval Office on Wednesday was the closest yet to a repeat. He knew he would be treading the most
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
And we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You haven't been alone.
In this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment. And you men are brave, but they had to use our military. If you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
Ramaswamy's visit to the Oval Office on Wednesday was the closest yet to a repeat. He knew he would be treading the most perilous of diplomatic tightropes. Ramaphosa came prepared. He arrived with top South African golfers Ernie Els and Retief Goosen in tow, hoping to take the edge off the golf mad over Trump's genocide claims against white South African farmers. The stage was set. Trump told his aides to turn the lights down. A video of South African politicians chanting, "Kill the farmer," began to play on the screen. Sitting on the edge of his seat, Ramaphosa looked stunned, struggling to get a word in.
Turn the lights down. Turn the lights down. And just put this on. It's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from...
But Trump had more than just the video. He also shuffled through a stack of papers that he said were prints of reports about attacks on white farmers.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. 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 Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But unlike Zelensky, the South African president, for the most part, stayed calm as he argued his case. He clarified that the politicians seen during the video were from a minority party in the opposition.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution. There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people.
But instead of pushing back on President Trump's claims by himself, Ramaphosa encouraged Trump to listen to other members of his delegation, including Ernie Els and Retief Goosen.
You know, we've got some great things going on. Business is getting involved with government. Farmers are getting involved in local municipalities, trying to rebuild some of the infrastructure that's been decaying for a long time. So there's a lot of coexistence going on and help from a lot of areas. But I feel we need the U.S. To push this thing through.
All right, joining us live on the broadcast is Kalden Ungmu from Johannesburg. our correspondent in South Africa, of course. Kalden, good to see you. You're in Johannesburg. What is the mood there on President Ramaphosa's meeting with President Trump?
Well, Susan, every young and old people in the streets of South Africa has been talking about the march, spoken about meeting yesterday at the Oval House yesterday in Washington, D.C. Everybody is talking about that. If you look at the newspapers, watch all the major news channels in South Africa, and even outside South Africa, everyone is leading with the headlines of this special meeting between President Trump and President Ramaphosa. Well, South Africans are divided, whether, some may say it went in favor of South Africa, others saying, no, Trump he managed to embarrass and ambush Ramaphosa. But overall, most South Africans say that the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, he maintained to keep his calm. He was collected throughout the meeting. And at the end, he actually managed to do what he went there for, saying that he went to reset South Africa's relations between the two nations, and that it actually happened. That's what he said. Even after the White House, when he briefed the reporters, that's what was his final statement to the reporters.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because we reported on it, but it went unnoticed that they did try to talk about favorable trade deals between the two sides with mutual respect and whatnot. And that was perhaps, as I mentioned, missing in the headlines, which was very important when it comes to South Africa and U.S. relations. Okay, what about, and you talked a little bit about how the South African president handled himself. Do you think that he had done his homework, considering the fact that I'll say what the media here is saying for the most part is one of the first issues that arose during that meeting was that President Ramaphosa decided to answer for President Trump when that reporter asked the question about the alleged white genocide. Do you think that Ramaphosa was expecting something like this to happen? Was he prepared?
Well, I think the South African delegation was extra prepared, Susan. Even before going into that very important meeting, President Cyril Ramaphosa had spoken to the reporters a day ahead of that meeting, stating that he's ready, his entourage is ready. In fact, most of them talking about how he was very strategic in choosing his entourage that was going into that White House with him for the meeting as well, choosing close friends, golfers of President Trump, choosing South Africa's richest businessman who is an Afrikaner, Johan Rupert, choosing union presidents there. So, even though he was ambushed by some of the evidence, the so-called evidence Donald Trump said, leading to white genocide in South Africa, Ramaphosa did speak. He was interrupted time and again by President Trump. But at the end of the day, his entourage also did the work for him. Well, some may say, Donald Trump was successful, even though he was misinformed. Some of the video clips he played, some of the pictures that he played may not, he or his administration may not have fact-checked that. But at the end, he still managed, he still persuaded, saying there is white genocide happening in South Africa, even though President Ramaphosa kept saying no. But definitely, Susan, the whole team, President Ramaphosa's team, the delegation was prepared for any eventualities that was going to happen at White House. You do know everyone talking about, before going to the meeting, everyone was apprehensive on whether Ramaphosa with friendly gestures, or will he be getting the same treatment as Zelensky did? But at the end of the day, even President Ramaphosa feels that he was satisfied with the meeting. The press briefing, the press conference with the reporters may have gone a bit otherwise. But at the end of the day, he said in the closed doors where he met with President Trump, they said the meeting went on well. Their main important focus was on resetting these relations between the two countries, informing U.S. that South Africa is still ready to work with them, and that he said he did manage to do it successfully.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for all of that, Kalden. Great speaking to you, and I'll talk to you soon. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.